Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your questions. I'm also here to give you good information that can help you on your immigration journey. So I'll go ahead and start first by just telling you about some of the things that are going on here at the firm. So today I received a touching message from a dear client who has worked with me from the beginning and who had such great results. And so it was so touching. And I think my client got the essence of what we do at this law firm and how we do help our clients, what our goals are. And I do want to share some of that, the message that I got from the client. So this came in the form of a review, and it's um, a, an amazing experience with Miss Sharifa. This lady brought light and smile to my face in the middle of darkness and frustrations. When all other attorneys said, "Sorry, you can't do anything," Miss Sharifa was the only one that said, "Yes, you can." She made it happen. So that's exactly what we do here is we look for solutions. That's why I'm here. I am here to look for solutions for individuals that are seeking the ability to live here, to work here, to stay with your families, to have your papers. So if you would like to make sure that you figure out solutions here, it's going to be us because it's going to be us. That's what I do. I look for solutions here. My number one goal is not to tell you it's impossible, but to find a way that we can make it possible. And that's what we've done for our clients. So that's what I wanted to share with you because it really did. It brightened my day. It gave me energy, in light of everything that's happening with all these laws popping up across the states that are targeting immigrants. It allowed me to get a renewed energy to continue the fight and to help immigrants to get their status. At this time, we're winning, and I want to continue moving in that direction. I want to be able to help you. So go ahead. You can always go to the link in the profile. My number is at the top of the TikTok screen. It's going across the screen on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and go to the link in the profile and you'll see ways to get in touch. Now, and I also want to talk since the topic here is about helping you when you feel as if there are no solutions. The next thing I want to talk about, which I think is a big goal of a lot of clients, is how to get the work permit, even in situations where you are without your papers. You may have been told it's impossible, and I don't say that until I've done a thorough consultation, a thorough evaluation. And that's one of the things that most attorneys will not do. They don't delve into all the possible options that could be available to you, especially if you're out of status. Usually, what you'll hear is, "Are you married to a citizen?" if you're without your papers. If you're not married, you're not planning to get married to a citizen, then the attorney usually tells you, "Well, good luck, go find a spouse and come back when you do." I don't do that. What I do is I look at alternative options that may be available to you. But to figure out those alternative options, I take the steps that other attorneys are not taking. Most other attorneys are not. And it's delving into what have you been through? What has happened since you've been here? What circumstances are you facing? Because there are options available for you to be able to get the work permit where you are facing certain circumstances here and you need relief. because it's not just about being married to a citizen, but it's also about having options where you are facing an uphill battle. You're maybe facing mistreatment. You're facing fear of going back to your country. You're facing mistreatment by even an employer. Those can lead to options. And it is usually I have to stop to explain why I'm asking these questions in the consultation, or I've learned to now prepare the individual in my consultations for these questions, because they get very confused. They will say, when I ask questions about their experiences, they're very shocked about that. And when I explain to them why, and they always comment that they've never had this kind of experience with an attorney that stops, that listens to them, and that provides them an option after hearing what they've been through. So one the ways I can list a number of ways. I'm going to explain those briefly, and then we'll jump into questions. A number of ways that you are able to get the work permit if you're here. And of course, if you're married already to a citizen, you're going through the adjustment of status process. That's one. If you're being mistreated by a spouse, a parent, a U.S. citizen or resident spouse, parent, or citizen adult child, then you can petition for your own green card. And while you're waiting for the green card, you can get your work permit. And right now, by the way, these are all 5-year work permits. So meaning you're getting these for 5 years while you're going through the process. And you get your social security number with it. So you're able to live and work here. Now, the other one that where I've been able to find alternatives for my clients is where you have been mistreated by an intimate partner. You may not be married to them, but an intimate partner, an employer, or anyone. So even family members, if they've brought you here, if you were here and then they got you to live with them in their house and do work for them in their house, and that's not what you signed up for, that's possibly qualifications for what's called T status. And T status gets you your 4-year status, it gets you your social security, and it gets you your green card. Also, if you're here and you're fear going back to your country, then guess what? There's relief. You can, and if you fear going back to your country because of specific threats against you, based on your religion, based on your ethnicity, based on your political opinions or your position, the position, the beliefs that you're holding in your community, and you're being targeted because of your beliefs or because of any kind of part of group that you're a part of. If you're a part of a group, a group that shares similar characteristics, and you're being targeted because of that, maybe I mean, this is just an example, but maybe you're in a country. This is an example that's not real life. At least I don't. In some countries, it may be. For example, albino children were targeted to be killed for their body parts in Tanzania, right? And as a result of that, that gave them a basis to get asylum here in the US. So, yes, it does happen, but I was going to use the example, which I've personally not seen, but suppose you were in a country full of people with brown eyes and you had blue eyes. You were a part of a group of people that had blue eyes, and for some reason you were being targeted because you had blue eyes. That is you're a part of a particular social group that's being targeted for violence because you hold a shared characteristic that's identifiable and is the cause of you being targeted. So that's an example. So if you're a part of any social group, particular social group, where you share a common characteristic, and because of that you're being targeted, you can look to apply for asylum. So those are, and then also the U visa. In the process of applying for the U visa, as a victim of a crime. Victim of a crime could be domestic violence, it could be fraud, it could be assault, It could be robbery. Those are just examples of some types of crimes that can qualify you for deferred action while you wait for the U visa. Deferred action means that you do get a 4-year work permit and Social Security while you wait for the U visa to be processed, and it's renewable for the time that it's going to take for you to get the U visa. So these are some of the alternatives. And I do ask a series of questions. I can ask up to, because the last I checked, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is not the number, but there are over 21 ways to get residence here, and in the process get your work permit. So I look at those ways to figure out which one is going to work for you. And I've just said in a nutshell some of those ways, but don't count yourself out. If first schedule an appointment, let's go through this in detail, and then I can tell you whether you qualify for one of those ways. All right, so now I've said my piece. I want to jump into your questions. So please put those questions in the comments. I'm going through right now to answer some questions. All right. I'm trying to start from the top so I don't miss any questions. So bear with me. Please put those questions in the comments because I'm going to just start scrolling through and just start reading them off. Okay, so consultation fees, $150 for the detailed consultation. There's Attorney Bria and me, so you can go ahead and schedule with one of us based on your availability and based on her availability. If you go to the link in the profile, you will see the link to schedule your own appointment. It's really quick, really easy. You either choose Attorney Bria, you choose Attorney me, and then you'll be on our schedule, and then we will meet you at that time, and we will go through the appointment with you. And you are getting detailed legal advice in these appointments, so you will walk away with knowing how to move forward, how you can move forward. Can I pay my fees with a personal check? So for the consultation, we take debit card, we take credit card. We are flexible with certain money exchange apps like Zelle, but we don't take personal checks. When we do take the check is through when you do become our client. That option is there to use your check to make a payment. I'm waiting in I-130 filed by U.S. spouse. So waiting on I-130 filed by my U.S. spouse. The date we filed for, it was February 8th, is under review. So yeah, they're trying to move quickly on those. I would say, even though they say it's under review, you could still be waiting for anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. I have seen it as short as 4 months, but be prepared for a 9 to 12 month wait. Okay, can I pay my adjustment of status fees with a personal check? Yes, you can. I need a lawyer. Give us a call, schedule your appointment, and we will see how we can help you. How long is taking to receive the 10-year green card? I got the 2-year first, waiting for 1 year. So I don't have good news about that. What the good news here is, definitely make sure you move forward with applying for your going from the 10-year to the 2-year to the 10-year. Once you do, you're going to get a 4-year extension on you're going to get a special letter with a 4-year extension on your 2-year. I'm pretty sure you probably got that because you're waiting for a year now. And that allows you to live, to work, to travel, just like you did before as a green card holder until they make a decision. But what that does mean is that it can go as long as 4 years. On average, I'm seeing about 2.5 years for this process to go through. So it's taking a while. I went to certain company with my passport, waiting for my green card was denied. I'm not sure. You'd have to definitely schedule there. So wherever there's a denial, we need to understand your facts better, to understand how to move forward. Sometimes if you get a denial, it may require you to appeal, or you may have to, it might be better to refile, but we need to talk to you first. Please, can I still file for VAWA after my petitioner withdrawal? Yes, absolutely. Many of my clients went through that situation, and I know it's scary. You feel betrayed. It's the time is uncertain, but know that VAWA is going to definitely be a good alternative for you in the case the petitioner withdrew and there was mistreatment, which usually, if the petitioner withdrew, that's a red flag for other types of mistreatment against you in the marriage. 37-year-old son of U.S. citizen with visa overstay, any options? So when it comes to doing it through your parent, it's a 5 to 7 year process. If you're unmarried, if you're married, you're looking at a much longer process. So you're looking at about a 12-year process. But in cases like this is where the consultation is so important, because I've had similar situations and we were able to find alternatives for our clients who overstayed their hair. They have a parent, but that's not going to work because they're not going to get a work permit through that parent. They can't apply for adjustment of status, but they can apply for another type of process. Uh, how long it takes to get the work permit once you renew? So it can still take at least 6 months, maybe even up to a year. The good news though is that they have now applied an automatic 540-day extension to the work permit. So as long as you renew on time, you're going to get a year and a half extension while you wait for the actual card to come in the mail. So go ahead, still renew. You might see that card in 6 months, and also apply 6 months before the card expires, so that you have enough time, because then you'll have the extension, but it gives you enough time to get the new card before the actual card expires. Does it mean I get my EAD card soon if I got my social security card and I-765 approval notice? Absolutely. You're going to get that work permit in the actual card in about a week or two. Can I apply a work permit without a lawyer? I wouldn't recommend it. My probation was over in 2021. When can I apply for the N400? So you have to look at about 5 years back, and it depends on what you got the probation for. So this is a complex issue. Get legal advice. Can't stress enough. But it's possible, but it just depends on. So it finished in 2021. What happened though? What are the facts in your case? I've been waiting for asylum for 10 years now. Yes, it is taking long. Even though you do get your work permit and it's renewable for the time, but it's no less frustrating. Can I apply for advanced parole with my U visa being bona fide? Yes, it's possible to apply for the parole. My T visa application submitted a month ago. What's next, and how long does it take to hear from USCIS? So it usually takes 2 to 4 weeks for us to get back receipt notice. Then you're gonna have to expect your biometrics appointment, and then after that, a decision. Make sure you talk to your attorney though about him. Can I trust? Let me see. I missed that. I have a ton of questions coming in. Keep those questions coming though. I just saw one that says, can your employer file for you if out of status? No, they can't. Um, can I apply for advanced parole with, okay, so there it is. No, they usually can't, but what I can tell you is There are some exceptions. If you qualify for Section 245I, then your employer could possibly apply for you. Or if you, well, yes, so Section 245I is going to be the way here. Also, if maybe you've maintained TPS and you never fell out of status, that could possibly be a way to qualify as well. Can I apply for advance? So I answered that. So we don't do Canadian immigration law. 5 months waiting for work permit. How long is the process? It's, I would say, 3 to 6 months. If it's adjustment of status through marriage or family, it's going to be about 8 months to a year for VAWA, and for the T, it's going to be a year. Do you think that Congress is going to reform the immigration laws? I would not hold my breath for anything to happen right now as we enter election time. It's a very controversial topic, and nobody wants to really take ownership because it's so controversial. Nobody really wants to take ownership of positive immigration reform. So I would say that we have to wait and see who is elected. And of course, if you're listening here, you are a US citizen, participate. If you're watching me now as a US citizen, it means that you care about this topic. And please go ahead, participate in this process, because it's going to be up to you it's going to be up to us as a collective to get the right people in to get positive immigration reform. But what I would say is we have to wait till after the election to see what happens. How about a person with B1, B2 visa? I'm not sure what, if for the work permit, having a visa alone, a visitor's visa alone isn't going to get you that work permit. You have to qualify for those alternatives that I evaluate for, I screen for in the consultation. Applied for my husband's I-130 October 2023. How long do I have to wait? So I'd say 9 months to a year to get that decision. Can I apply for advanced parole with so I answered that. Can your employer file for you if you're out of status? Answered that. Can you be asked to submit more documents after a visa is refused? So yes, it's possible. If they're reviewing their decision, they may ask you to submit more documentation, maybe to support your eligibility. But get a lawyer, because you don't want to be submitting something that's going to go against you. So get a lawyer and get advice. Can your employer file for you if you're out of status? Answered that. I got 2-year extension for my removal of conditions. What do I expect? And please, do you know how? So you got the 2-year. Now they're handing out 4-year extensions for removal of conditions, and you're gonna have to wait for a decision. They may schedule biometrics. They may use the old ones that you already have, and then you have to wait to see if they'll schedule an interview or waive the interview and send you your green card. Can I still apply for VAWA after my petitioner withdraw their I-130? Absolutely. Give us a call. That's what we help our clients with. What if you're so what if you're BM? I'm thinking that's baby mother took your son to the USA. So that would be a custody issue. I'm not sure what the question is there. Applied for my husband's. So I answered that. How long does it take for I-12812? So I think it's I-824 you're referring to be approved. So I would expect about a year. Can J1 visa with a 2-year home residency be changed to F1? So yes, the J1 can be changed to F1, but when you're finished with everything, you still have to fulfill that 2-year foreign residency requirement where you go back home or you get it waived. Would it be better to try for a work visa after a 5-year ban for working? you getting that, this is a very tricky question, and it's going to depend on a number of factors. For example, what kind of visa, and because they tend to, even though you will, that 5 year ban will be over, they tend to still hold that against you because now they're evaluating your risk of going to the US and overstaying the time. My husband is living in the USA, but I would like to join him. Please help. So let's talk in a consultation. Let's see what can be done. My husband is a resident but is incarcerated but has a hold on him. What will happen if he's released? I'm not sure if this is related to immigration. Um, okay, I see what you're saying. So, seeing that he's incarcerated, he has a hold. So, ICE has put a hold on him, so that if when he completes his time, he's gonna move over to ICE custody. So it means that they could possibly bring him back into custody and start deportation proceedings. It just depends on what the offense is, and if it's severe enough to cause a deportation. When USCIS asks for RFE, what to expect from them? It depends on what they're asking. For example, I got 2 RFEs this week, and all they were asking for was a medical, which is a hint that once we send the medical in, they're going to send a green card in the mail. So that's good news. That, that means that the RFE may not be such a bad thing because they're trying to move the case along by getting the final piece, which is the medical. But if they start to ask things about providing more evidence of bona fides, then you definitely want to make sure you get an attorney to guide you. We have gotten good results ourselves when we have responded to requests for evidence, asking for additional evidence, but it depends on what they're asking for. Okay, so you were the victim of violence in Jamaica and you're in the US. Can you look for asylum? Absolutely. Now, I can't confirm because I'm not your attorney. I haven't done a consultation with you. I can't confirm whether you qualify for asylum. But the fact that you've been victimized in this way means that it's a big, big hint that you may qualify for asylum, but we have to ask you some more questions. How long does it take when a mom files for her kids? It depends on the kid's age. If they're under 21 and the mom is a citizen, can take 6 months to 12 months. If she's a resident, can take about a year and a half to 2 years because you have to wait for the priority date to become current. There is now a short wait list for that. If the children or the son or daughter is 21 or over, now it turns into a 5 to 7 year process. If the son or daughter is married and the parent is a citizen, it turns into a 12-year process. So it just depends. If someone on visitor's visa can he change status to EB2? No, you have to meet certain criteria. EB2 is where it's another name for it is national interest waiver, and you can petition for your own green card through this EB2 or national interest waiver. However, you have to make sure you're maintaining your visitor status, meaning no overstays, that your priority date is current. You'd have to check the visa bulletin for that, and that you present all the evidence required to show that you qualify to receive the national interest waiver, which means you have a master's or PhD advanced degree, or that you have exceptional ability. And then there are additional criteria, but those are that's the main. You don't get the national interest waiver unless you can meet those criteria first. Can your employer file for you if you're out of status? No. And if an employer has promised this, knowing that they couldn't deliver, that might be fraud, labor trafficking by fraud. All right, so let's come over here. Let's see what's going on here on Instagram, and then I'm gonna head on to YouTube and answer some questions. Uh, Any idea it's taking to remove the condition for permanent residence? So I'd say 2 to 4 years right now. But you do have that extension, and that extension you can travel with it. Just maintain your original receipt notice, travel with it, work with it, do everything you do as a permanent resident. Is it possible for me to get my papers even if I'm 22 and my mom got married? How long you think knowing that I still live with her and we are non-immigrant? So it's going to be a longer road for you to get it through your mom because you're 22. Um, it means that the process is about 5 to 7 years and it doesn't allow you to get the papers while staying here. You have to go through another waiver process, and there's no benefit for a work permit while you're going through that process. But this is where, whenever I see situations like this, I evaluate for alternative options. So this is where the consultation is very important. All right, scrolling through. How long before you get a receipt from USCIS? I say 2 to 4 weeks. If you get an RFE for your VAWA, but you don't have any more evidence, what should you do? Get an attorney. Give us a call. Let's see if we can go through that RFE and see how we can approach it. Get an attorney, because where you think you have no more evidence, there may be more ways to show immigration you qualify for VAWA. How long after you sent your citizenship paperwork will they call you for an interview? It's been a month and a half now. So I would say anywhere from 2 months to 8 months to get through the interview. If you're married to a US citizen, separate and abandoned for 5 years after 3 months of marriage without nothing in place, can I file for abandonment? So the VAWA, there is no application for abandonment. But what happens is usually abandonment is an indication that there was more going on. There was some form of mistreatment. And um, based on the abandonment, along with other patterns of behaviors against you that amounted to mistreatment or extreme cruelty, then you can apply for VAWA. But this is where I urge you. This is why my consultations are so detailed, because I want to understand the facts here to be able to make the best application possible for you to go through. And I need to verify you qualify for it. So this is where it's important to schedule the appointment. It's really easy to schedule your own appointment. Go to the link in the profile, go to the link in the description of the video on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, link in profile on Instagram, link in bio on TikTok. Go ahead, click on those, click on the link. You'll see a button to schedule your own appointment. My schedule is filling up, so you want to make sure you get on my schedule so we can figure out how to help you and get started right away. I'm 19 and overstayed. What to do? Give us a call. At this point, we want to evaluate all your options. How long before you receive your receipt when you send for adjustment of status? I'd say 2 to 4 weeks. Good evening. What if you don't hear from them in 4 weeks? Make sure. So this is my recommendation, because sometimes they get busy. One time it took me 4 months to get a receipt notice. Once or twice, about 4 months to get that receipt notice. Always pay, invest in additional funds. So that's what we do when we are sending for our clients. We send by a courier, by FedEx, mainly by FedEx, but there are others too, like DHL, there's UPS. Send by courier or send by priority mail, and make sure you have tracking. When it gets to the address, the officer there at the USCIS will sign off on it, and you can see that they signed off on it and they have it in the mail room. So even if you don't get the receipt notice within the 4 weeks, you know that they must have it. Another thing is that, which is not great news, But sometimes when it takes that long, it means that they might kick it back to you because they've rejected it. So you might get the whole packet back as well. So they're just processing it first before rejecting the application packet. And it just means that you have to make a correction and send it back. So could be that too. Um, but just verify it was delivered. What decision does biometrics give? So biometrics just means that they're going to do a background check, usually an FBI background check, and that's to make sure that you have nothing in your background that's going to prevent you from getting your papers, your work permit, or your green card. I have a prima facie. I understand that I can get student aid. Do you think that grant is free or it's a loan? So I am not an advisor for financial aid. I mean, but based on my understanding, a grant is where you get money, where you don't have to pay it back. A loan, you do have to pay back. So, but speak with your financial aid advisor because I can't give you advice there. Okay, can I change my status when I'm on a B1 OCS? I'm not sure what OCS visa. So you can change status, but you have to qualify. It's not as simple as printing the form and then, applying to change your status. You have to make sure you can prove you qualify for that. Is there a cost to get the T visa? What are the approval rate to get the T visa? So our approval rating is very high. At this time, we are very good at it. um, on the immigration side is 80% right now, and we have a saying. I don't know if we have a say if this is a saying in other countries, but I know in Jamaica, whenever you want something to keep going, you don't want that bad thing to happen, you say knock on wood. We have not had a denial for a T visa because we choose the cases well, we fight for our clients, and we make a good case. We make sure they qualify. So we've not had a denial. So our approval rating is far above the 80%, but 80% at USCIS, and we are on a roll for the T visa. So knock on wood, that keeps going, that we can continue to get good results for our clients. So should you qualify for the T visa, you do have a very, very good shot at it. If a child comes across the border, can we file for SIJ visa for him? He's 14. Yes, that's a possibility. If they came across the border and the parent, at least one of those parents, is not available, so they have given up their rights as a parent, which that will happen once they go through the SIJS process. Then yes. Um, Madam, been married to USC. She's refusing my AOS filing in British. What are my options? Give us a call. Let's talk about what's going on. That's usually a red flag and the first indication that you may qualify for VAWA, because which spouse would not file for their spouse? Spouses are supposed to see the best, spouses are supposed to look out for you. They're supposed to make decisions um, in your best interest. So if they're not doing that, then it means that you may qualify for VAWA based on mistreatment or extreme cruelty. If my citizen husband files for my kids, how long does it take? So it depends on where the kids are. If they're outside of the country, expect about a 2-year process. If they're in the country, expect anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. Let's see, let's keep going. How long does it take to get your SSN after getting your EAD? So I would say a week or two. So the latest pattern I've seen is the SSN is coming before even the EAD, which the EAD is the work permit. If you don't get your SSN, don't panic. Call the Social Security office and go in, and they'll issue another one for you with the work permit in hand. Can a U.S. citizen child file for your parents if they are out of status? Can a U.S. citizen child, not a child, they have to be 21 or older. So under immigration law, that's an adult child. They have to be 21 or older before they can do that. Is it possible to have an interview for spouse visa abroad? Yes. What do you do after your EB1 application has been denied? You have to review what exactly, what's the basis of the denial and see if there's any way to fix it. You may refile, maybe appeal. Is it possible to have an, so I answered that. What's the cost for SIJS visa? So our consultation is $150. First, we go through the consultation because we have to make sure we vet every case to make sure you qualify. And then we go ahead and provide you the quote. So let's start with the consultation so you can get legal advice, you can understand the strategy moving forward, because that's what I talked to you about, how we plan to move forward, a whole plan for you. And then we provide you the quote based on your circumstances. I put in for my work permit from September. Some work permits can take anywhere from 9 months to 12 months. It just depends on what you're applying for. How many persons can provide affidavit for and how much income needed? Go to the I-864P. So you can look it up on the USCIS website. Look at forms, the I-864P form. You will see a list, a chart that gives you a list of how the household size and how much your petitioner needs to be making to pass that, to be able to be approved for the affidavit of support. If your visa was taken away from you for 5 years now, can your citizen spouse send you a fiancé visa? It's possible, but usually that indicates that you are barred and you have an inadmissibility, so there may be a waiver. So it may be a little bit complex, but make sure you get legal advice. It's possible. What if you come up and work visa? Can you file for citizenship for yourself? So first you have to do your permanent residence first. It's possible if you qualify for, say, the national interest waiver or the extraordinary ability. Those allow you to apply for yourself. We appreciate you always answer all questions in your life. You are welcome. It's my pleasure. Can an employee apply for work permit for asylum seeker? I think that's an employee. Can an employer apply for the work permit? Unfortunately, it's very unlikely. Whenever as an asylum seeker, they're in a gray area. They're in status. They're not in status, but they're not out of status. So because of that, the employer is unable to show that they're maintaining legal status to be qualify them for the permanent resident or the work permit. I mean, they have to qualify for adjustment of status to get the green card. And while they get the green card, get the work permit. But in this case, that's not possible. But what I have had happen, and if any of you can relate to this, give me a call. We just got the approval for this, by the way. Our client was told that the employer can petition for his green card if he just comes and works. He did it. He tried to comply with all the immigration laws. He thought the employer was promising him his papers, got him to work. When he started to work, that's when the employer hit him with the truth is we can't get you your papers, but what you can go do is go commit immigration fraud and apply for asylum. And that's where when that happened, my client became qualified for the T visa as a victim of labor trafficking by fraud, because what that employer did was induce him by fraud to come and work for him. And he would not have worked for him if he knew what the employer had in mind for him. So that's what made it trafficking. So if you are experiencing anything or experienced anything like this, doesn't matter how long ago, let's talk. All right. I am now on YouTube. Hi there. How long it take USCIS to make decisions on I-290B? So I have seen them go for over a year. Is T coming with travel documents, or you can travel to Canada or Mexico? So, I would say this. It's really on a case by case basis. I would not say you have a T, just go traveling. However, right now, the government is not, they're not restricting people, T visa holders from applying for their travel document. So it's possible to travel. I've had colleagues that have said that this is that their clients have been able to get the travel document now. And when you look at the approval notice for the T visa, it does state that if you want to travel while you're on the T status, apply for the travel document. However, during the Trump years, it was a big problem, and sometimes they would the question whether the T visa holder their application was valid, because how all of a sudden are they traveling out of the country, sometimes going back to their own country if they're such a victim of trafficking. So that became a pattern and pattern back then. But in this administration, the Biden administration, they have been saying it's okay, get your travel document to travel. So but I treat it on a case by case basis. I don't just say it's okay for you to travel, because I need to understand each of my clients' situation first. Good evening. How long it take to get a work permit um, from from VAWA? So 8 months to 12 months. Where are you located? I'm located in Boca Raton, Florida. We also now have an office in Delray Beach, also Florida. However, we help clients all over the country. Most of my clients are all over the country. So no matter where you are, we can help you. I get an interview for my marriage-based green card. Is that a good thing? So it means that they have questions, and just be ready, be prepared, because right now they are waiving interviews. So if they schedule the interview, it means you need to take that seriously and be prepared for your interview. Can I get a U visa against my ex-wife who pepper sprayed me and admitted to it in her protection order case that was dismissed? So usually you have to be the victim of a qualifying crime that has to be reported to law enforcement. So this may not be enough. But let's talk in a consultation and let's see. Can you file U visa to get work permit for wife after my VAWA approved? So you can all your VAWA is approved, meaning you have deferred action, you already have protection, and you can now apply for your green card. So I'm not sure if the U visa would be beneficial from a strategic point of view, but this is where it's important to get the consultation. Hi there. Thank you so much. Hi, Sharifa. Big up. Big up to you too. Combo. So I-765 CO9 combo approval. What does that mean? My son got it today. Oh, nice. It means they have their work permit and they have their travel document. So, yeah, combo approval. So, I'm not, usually it's not on one. So, you'll see CO9P. So, you meaning you have your work permit and you're getting your travel document at the same time. So, just make sure that card authorizes your son to travel, meaning travel internationally using that card. How can I stop one to become citizen? So I don't stop anybody from getting their papers. That's not my job. Um, Good evening, Sherifa. You're doing a good job. Look great doing it. Thank you so much. I'm Phoenix. I appreciate that. Thank you. What if I don't have pictures of my wedding and I did not have a wedding reception? So that should not stop you. No, not having wedding pictures. I would be prepared to, answer questions if you have if you're scheduled for an interview about why you didn't have wedding pictures. Um, However, this is where you have to amp up the rest of your evidence. Show your joint document, show that you are a bona fide couple. You know, a wedding, having a wedding ceremony, a wedding is like what, an hour, hour and a half, but you have a lifetime together. So you need to show that you are really working on that lifetime together by documenting that. So start putting your funds together, joint bank account, joint bills, joint lease, joint car ownership, joint any other property, trips together. Make sure you're documenting that. So those are examples of what they want to see. Um, and then you can, explain why. I know you probably have an explanation for why you don't have any pictures. So make sure you both can answer that question. How long after getting your green card can you travel right away? You can, once you get that green card, you can, and make sure you have your passport too, current passport, and green card. Book your trip tomorrow. Good evening. How long it take to get a work permit? So I'm not sure. It's not finished. I see through, and then I don't see anything else. But it can range 3 to 6 months for family-based cases, and then I'd say 9 months to a year for the humanitarian base. For asylum, it's taking 150, 180 days right now. If you have a prima facie, can you be approved? It's a sign that you are going in a good direction, but it's not an official decision. It's not an indication of an official approval. They still are going to look at it in detail, and they may have questions, but it's a sign that so far they feel like you qualify. And if everything in that application is true in that preliminary review that they did, they would then grant the VAWA. In my passport, it says not subject to 2-year rule. What does that mean? It's good news for you. It means that you have the J1 visa, but if you want to change status, you don't have to go back to your country for 2 years first before you get it done. Can a derogative child on a VAWA application outside of the US for a visiting visa? So VAWA, you can apply for VAWA outside of the US. Yes, so it's possible, but we'd have to talk to you to figure out what's going on there. How far out they're scheduling interviews, so it depends on what application you're referring to. If it's family-based, marriage-based, I've seen interviews anywhere from 5 months to about 8 months after. If I have parole, can I make marriage? Is possible. You married a green card holder, how much years you will? 10 years. So if you're married for less than 2 years, 2 years or less, it's 2-year green card. Then you have to renew it. Or it's called remove the conditions to get the 10-year. If you're married for more than 2 years, you get the 10-year green card. Let me see. Okay, my husband forced me to work in a store. I had student visa, but now I'm out of status. He promised me to apply work permit, but he did not. Can I apply for T? He get problems, and we have 2 kids. No, while I cannot tell, I'm not your attorney, I can't tell you specifically. What I can say is I've had clients in your exact position with a spouse or a significant other, do this to them and get the tea. So it is possible, but we need to talk for me to confirm and move forward. So this is where go to the description of the video, click on the link, and schedule that appointment, because you are well on your own in a confidential process. All right, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm gonna head out. So as usual, what has been happening, I used to be on here 12. Sometimes I'm on here between 12 and 2. I'm trying to get back on track with being on time at the, between 12 and 1. But in the meantime, as we continue to work to get our clients' papers in, and we're going to continue doing that. We have a larger team. We have more attorneys helping to get good results for our clients. And so I am helping my team to do the job well. Now, in the meantime, though, I still am aiming to try to get here on here daily, Mondays through Fridays. Follow me, subscribe, and then whenever you see me come on, then you'll be notified, and then you can join me and come on with your questions, or if you just want to hear good news or hear updates about what's going on, you can join me at that time. Right? It's usually in the days, but this time it had to be in the night. But I will definitely let you know when my schedule is going to be back to normal. In the meantime, just bear with me and follow me so that you can be notified. And if you're available, join me. All right. Have a great, great night. Thanks, everyone, for these great questions. I really enjoy answering your questions. Remember that if you need personalized legal advice, go ahead, schedule that appointment now, because my schedule is filling up. Attorney Bria's schedule is filling up. So you want to get on that schedule so we can get straight to work. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.